Nearly 4 million people started an online business just in the last year. Part of that jump was driven by necessity as millions of jobs disappeared during the lockdown. But part of it was also driven by a massive opportunity because e-commerce growth exploded during the pandemic. People who never shopped online before had to figure it out just to get basic necessities. And now that online shopping's mainstream, e-commerce is on track to be $1 trillion industry in the US alone by 2022. So if you've ever considered starting a business before, now's the best time to start. By taking action today, you'll be on track to completely refresh your finances by the holidays. That's because you'll be able to launch your store just in time to profit from the biggest sales day of the year, Black Friday. So given the record-breaking growth of e-commerce, this Black Friday is set to be the biggest one yet. I know starting your own business is a big step, and I'm sure you have questions. So we've picked out the most common questions that we've gotten so far to answer for you now so you don't miss out on this enormous opportunity to build wealth. So Mike, let's go ahead and jump into these questions. So the first one that we've received is, how much money do I need to start this kind of business? Now, we've gone through the math basically involved. There's a few different expenses along the way. We can talk about those a little bit later. But in general, the amount of money that we recommend you have, which is primarily for inventory, is a minimum of $2,000 up to $5,000, maybe a little bit higher, $8,000 in inventory. By all means, if all you have is $2,000 you can put in inventory, then use that $2,000 and at least start some sort of business. If you have $5,000 or more for inventory, that can be advantageous because you'll have more products you can choose from. You'll be able to get more inventory, so you run out slower. You'll eventually probably run out either way, but it helps maintain your rankings so you don't constantly have to relaunch your product to pick back up rankings you lost. So that's about the amount of money we recommend you have, including inventory, shipping, freight, packaging, logo design, all that sort of stuff just to get started.
Now, another question we get is, how much time does it take to start this business? And by start, I'm going to assume we mean actually making sales. And in general, it takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months in order to find your product, get a supplier, work out all the details for packaging and shipping, and then get it sent to Amazon so you can start selling. So in about 3 months, if you're really taking action and following our training and looking for all the things that we're going to teach you exactly how to find, then within 3 months, you should have your product up and launched and selling. Now, it could take a little longer. Sometimes people like to take more time in really researching multiple products, talking to multiple suppliers, getting multiple samples to really find the perfect product. So that's why we say 3 to 6 months is a really good estimate for how long it can take for you to start this business. If you think about it right now, that puts you right in the right place for getting going and selling for the holiday season, which is going to start probably near the end of October, early November. So yeah, 3 to 6 months, and you should be able to be up and selling on Amazon.
Yeah, so kind of a related question we get is like, how long is it going to be until I start producing consistent profits? The typical time frame we recommend is 6 to 12 months. Now, that may seem like a long amount of time, may not seem like very much time, but it is kind of the reality of the business. Because, like Mike said, it's going to take you a few months just to get your first product live. That gets live, you're running promotions, you're doing discounts, you're producing sales, then you've got to take some of that profit and reorder more inventory. You got to wait another couple months for that inventory to get live. So in general, 6 to 12 months or so until your business, you've kind of caught up with inventory to all the sales you're producing, and you're starting to produce consistent profit, consistent sales, where you can start taking some of that money and using it to fuel your own financial freedom. I mean, Mike, what did it take you, 12 months, a year?
12 months, and I was able to quit my job and live off just what I was making with my first couple products.
Yeah, so that was replacing a good corporate job, but he had a family to support, so it took about a year until he was in that position where he felt comfortable enough to basically leave that job and go full-time on his business.
Right. Now, another question we get, speaking of living off what you're making, is what is a typical profit margin? So what we always shoot for is 25% as the minimum gross profit. And so there's two kind of profit margins here. There's gross profit and then there's net. So the gross is going to be what do you make off of each and every sale? And then the net is going to be including all the other business expenses. And there aren't a lot in this business, which is really the nice thing about that. What can you expect in the net profit margin? So gross would be a minimum 25%. And the net usually take away another 10% or so from any kind of other business expense you might have out there. I think the Amazon monthly fee is only $39. You may decide to get a domain just for an email address, which is like, $10, $20 a month, something like that. So those are pretty negligible, but we like to think that there are going to be some other expenses in there. So So the net will be a little less than the gross, but gross minimum 25%. That usually is the typical one too, because there are people that make more than that. There are some products out there such as supplements, skincare products, pretty much those that you can source inside the US that have really high profit margins, but those also have a little bit more competition. So we don't recommend you start out in those categories, but just know that there are other categories and products out there that can have a much higher profit margin than 25%. But in general, figure on around 25% gross profit margin for this.
Next question is there too much competition on Amazon? This is a great question. It's a good time to be asking this. Recently Amazon sales have increased like crazy because of changing things in the world, our recent events and everything else going on. So the question is like, has the number of competitors caught up? I would say no. And some of the data that we're seeing does not indicate that there's been as fast of growth in the number of Amazon sellers as there has been in the amount of new revenue available on Amazon. However, there are some products out there that are highly competitive. You go back 5 years ago, you could basically throw anything up on Amazon, do some basic marketing, and you could start producing lots of sales and profit. Not the case anymore. Today you've got to find the right kind of product, do a little more product research, make sure you're finding a good, solid opportunity. You've got to do the marketing stuff right, and you've got to kind of play the long game, which, one of the questions we answered was how long is it going to take to get up and running and make profit? You've got to think a little bit more long-term today, but if you do, the potential size of the business you can build, I think, is bigger than any time we've ever seen. I mean, we've got members out there that are building multi-million-dollar businesses, selling them, building more, even bigger businesses, 2 or 3 times the size of the one that they just sold, because that's the opportunity today. There's so much sales volume on Amazon that when you get through that early sort of learning stage, the opportunities are absolutely incredible.
Now, another question we get is how do you beat the big brand names out there? And I think in reality, the question might be the wrong question. Maybe it's not how do you beat them, it's how do you compete with them? Because first off, you don't have to beat the big brands out there. No one says you have to be the number one seller for whatever product you're selling out there. That's why Amazon has hundreds and hundreds of products in each specific category that are doing exceptionally well. So you don't have to be the number 1, number 5, top 10 even. Just competing with any of the big brand names out there has enough revenue and profit potential to be a life-changing product for you. Now, can you beat them? Absolutely, you still can. I know that when I start off with our first product, we were going up against a big brand name, and same with our second and third, but we didn't let that stop us. Now, one of the benefits that we have competing against these big companies and brand names out there is that we're able to focus on one product. They're out there running these huge companies with lots of employees, lots of products. When you're starting out, you just focus on one product, which allows you to put all of your time and energy on that one product. And speaking of time and energy, we're going to give you all the right strategies that you can spend that time on in order to be able to outproduce and outmaneuver the big brands out there. Remember, they're building huge, big brands out there. Amazon is one tiny bit of their marketing strategy. With what we'll be showing you, you'll have laser-like focus just on Amazon, which is going to allow you to not only compete with them, but also potentially beat those big brands also.
And if you remember how a lot of those big brands kind of came to be, they built these massive companies and then they had to go sell these products in retail stores. So they almost had to, like, if the product, if you're a Procter & Gamble and your product can't do, like, I don't know exact numbers, but something like $1 billion in sales a year, then it's probably not worth their time. But with Amazon and selling online, it's so much more of a longer tail, meaning lots of products can do well, that for one of us, building a product that, is $1 million business is incredible. For almost anybody, that's a life-changing amount of money, but that's just not worth it for these big brands, which is where a lot of the opportunity is. So next question is, what about drop shipping? So my first business was actually doing drop shipping, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically you take orders on your store online and you send those orders off to a manufacturer and they actually fulfill that for you. So if say, John orders from my online store or from on Amazon, I send his details, what products did he order, what's his shipping address, over to a manufacturer and they'll ship whatever he ordered directly to him. So I don't have to carry any inventory, which is the nice part. The downside is you're not really building your own brand and your profit margins are terrible, which is why we almost only recommend you owning the brand, doing some sort of private labeling, because you're going to build a much more valuable business and it's going to have higher profit margins and you're going to have a lot more control over what you do with that brand rather than just basically, having to sell at the exact same price in the exact same way in the exact same place as everyone else selling that brand because that's their rules. So we highly recommend you do not do drop shipping and instead go and create your own brand because it's so simple to do these days.
All right, next question is, should I still sell on Amazon if I'm not in the US? The answer obviously is yes. I would say that roughly half of our members who go through Amazing Selling Machine and are selling on Amazon, they're not from the US. You don't have to be in the US. As a matter of fact, you don't have to live anywhere that you're actually selling on Amazon. They don't care where you live. And we have lots of training on showing you exactly how to get set up, regardless of what country that you live in. So you can absolutely sell on Amazon no matter where you're living. And also, what we also teach people is that no matter where you live, you still want to sell in the US. We found through our years of experience that other markets can be pretty good, like UK, Germany, Japan. Those are good upcoming markets. However, for launching your very first product, it still makes sense to go and sell in the US market on Amazon.com because they have the most buyers, and also they have more marketing tools that are available to sellers like us. And you can just really build a brand starting out selling on Amazon.com. And then later, when you're ready, if you want to, you can take that brand that you've built in the US and then launch that in any other country that you want to. It's a pretty simple process.
All right, so next question is, what if I don't want to source products from China? I understand there's a lot of people who may not want to, and you may be in that same situation. China manufactures the vast majority of the products sold in the world. I mean, literally, if you look around you right now at your home or office, almost all that stuff's going to be made in China. It's just because they built up such incredible manufacturing capabilities over there. However, if you don't want to, you don't have to. You may have to jump through a few more hoops. There are certain products you can sell that are sourced in the US. Some products that are sourced in South America, Central America. You may be able to get some products in places like Vietnam or other places that India, Pakistan, that manufacture a lot of products also. You may have to hunt around a little bit more or narrow your choices down to certain categories. But it is possible to sell products not made in China. Just for some products, the vast majority of products, if you try to source them outside of China, you're just not going to be able to do so at a cost that's going to make sense. People will likely not be willing to pay more for those products. That's just been our experience. But there are plenty of products you can sell that are not made in China either way.
All right, next question. What do I get with ASM Evolution? All right, there's a lot that comes with ASM Evolution. Of course, it comes with the completely updated training, which we just redid from scratch. And a lot of times people think that ASM Evolution is just a training program, but it's so much more than that. Training is great. It's a huge part of the entire program, but it's just one part. So in addition with the training, you also get an entire set of tools that'll help you launch your business faster than ever. We have tools that'll help you find the product that you want to sell, tools that'll help you choose the right keywords in order to know which ones to go for when you're launching your product, tools that'll help you choose of all the products that you have found and are looking at, which one is the right one for you to launch for your first product. We also have tools that'll help you launch the product itself in order to get sales right from the beginning. So there's an entire tool suite that comes with the training also. Now, in addition to the training and tools, we also have the community, which a lot of times I refer to this as the most valuable part of ASM. You can probably figure out training, maybe watching a bunch of videos somewhere, kind of piece it all together, and you might be able to piece together some tools. But what you can't really get anywhere else is the ASM community, which we've been building for nearly 10 years now. And it's an entire group of sellers that are just like me and Matt and so many sellers like you out there that are looking to help each other grow and build their businesses. So you might think that in this business that everyone's competing with each other. And in a way, maybe we are, but in our community, everyone's helping each other out because there's so much opportunity on Amazon that you don't need to worry about someone trying to go out there and compete with you too much. In our community, people are helping everyone every single day answering questions. Even before our mentors come in and answer questions, we find that so many members of our community are in our community every single day, helping other members answering their questions before we even get to them. So it's unlike anything else, and until you experience it, you don't really know just how incredibly powerful our community is. Now, speaking of the mentors that I mentioned, we also have the mentors. Now, these are real sellers who've been selling for years on Amazon. They average at least $1.8 million in sales on Amazon. So not only do they know the content of the training, how to use the tools, they have lived and breathed this business. They have built their own businesses, been successful at it. They've also faced many of the hurdles that people come across. So if you have a problem and you want to get help solving that problem, you can go in the community, ask for help there. And then if one of our members doesn't have the answer, our mentors come along and are in the community every single day, answering questions and helping people throughout the entire time of building their business. Now, in addition to the training, the tools, the community, the mentors, we also have 5 bonuses that come along with ASM Evolution right now. They're going to help you from picking the right product, from making sure that your product is ready to launch and ready to go, from making sure that you have a great PPC strategy, from making sure that you also know how you're going to scale your business later on, and then just a general coaching session for anything that you want as well. Now, all those 5 bonuses are only available right now, but they're a part of ASM Evolution when you join today. So yeah, training, tools, community, mentors, bonuses, and our guarantees all make up ASM Evolution.
Now you might be wondering, how much does all this cost? So the price to join is $4,997. Now that's just a one-time fee. You don't pay a recurring fee for access to ASM. We basically try to, do it all in one, what we consider a very reasonable fee considering everything that you get. And then you don't have to pay anything else to us after that. Basically after that, you get free unlimited updates to the training, unlimited access to the community. You can talk with the mentors. You can keep going back through training because sometimes you may be reviewing videos a year from now, 2 years from now, and we want to make sure that you have access to the best, most updated training available. So all that $4,997. We also have a payment plan available that lets you start the whole program for just a little bit less than $1,000. And you can find all those details on the registration form. But either way, you get the same exact access. I think we're going to maybe talk a little bit about the guarantees here. But you get the same access to ASM, same lifetime access to the community, updates to the training, and everything else. And then once you pay those payments on the payment plan, there's only 6 of them. And then once those are done, you're basically in for life. There's no extra payments beyond that point.
So another question we get is, what if this doesn't work for me? What if my business doesn't succeed? And we put together not only the best training and tools and community mentors to help make sure that doesn't happen, we also put in a lot of guarantees to cover you should that happen at all. So first off, we have the 30-day refund period, which means that if you get in and you just realize that, you don't know after 30 days if it's going to succeed or not, we realize that. But if you realize it's not right for you, within 30 days, you can just get a refund, no questions asked, no harm. You just check out the training and then get a complete refund within 30 days. However, we've also added in the ASM Freedom Guarantee that is going to let you try out building this business for a full year. So let's say that, within 30 days, you kind of like what you're seeing, but you really want to give this business a shot, but you don't want to feel like everything you put into ASM and into inventory for your product is at risk. Well, with the Freedom Guarantee, we're going to give you an entire year to build your business using the training. And then if after a year you realize that this still isn't right for you, or your business fails, or you just don't like what you're doing, we'll not only refund you for what you've spent on ASM itself, we're also going to reimburse you for up to $5,000 in inventory. And we've never done anything like this before, up to $5,000 in advertising spend as well, because we realize that advertising is an important part of the business. So we don't want you to feel that's all on you in order to market and sell your product. So we're going to cover that and make sure that if it doesn't work out, reimburse you for the $5,000 in ad spend.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. If you think about it, you can join ASM, you can get a refund on that if you don't like it. You can also get a refund on up to $5,000 in inventory and on up to $5,000 in ad spend, which makes doing this whole business basically zero risk, which is our whole intention behind doing that. So next question is, what other costs are there besides ASM? So, like we said, we kind of gave you the price of ASM, which we consider incredible investment. It saves you a ton of time. Because otherwise, if you're going to go figure all this stuff out on your own, it's probably going to take you a few years to figure everything out, kind of like it did me way back in the day, because ASM didn't exist. But that's why I wanted to create it, years ago before we got Mike on board and everyone else, because nothing like it exists. And so now you invest in that, saves you hopefully a couple years worth of time. What else is there other than just investing in the program? Main thing is inventory, which, like you said, at least a couple $1,000s in inventory to get you going, get your first product live. So that's the main expense. Everything else is pretty minimal. Your professional Amazon Seller Central account is less than $40 a month, so that's almost nothing. You need a few product photos, at least maybe 3 or 4. Those are typically about $50 each. So you need some nice product photos. And then to create your brand, you may want to buy a domain. You may want to get a logo, those kind of things. That may be, $100 to $200. Other than that, everything else is kind of wrapped into the sales you're producing. Because on Amazon, whenever you advertise, whenever Amazon takes their 15% fee, whenever you're using Amazon's fulfillment services, all those are actually taken out of your sales and are factored in to the profit margins that we guide you through and that Mike talked about earlier whenever you're selecting a product. So none of those should necessarily be costing you extra money beyond what you've already put into inventory.
All right, so one question we get all the time is, what is the difference between ASM and other courses out there. There are other courses out there. There's other training you can kind of find just by doing searches on YouTube and kind of piecing it all together. The reason that people come to ASM and realize that it's like night and day above everyone else is because our program is so much more involved than everyone else out there. First off, we talked about this. We have the community. You can watch a video and try to learn what to do, but if you don't have people that you trust and go and ask questions to, then there's a high likelihood that you could fail. And you could also put your entire investment in products and inventory at risk because you don't know if the video you're watching is the right video, is out of date, or if it's something from us. You do know that we've updated it. We're actually living and breathing, selling products ourselves online. Our mentors are as well. And so we're going to make sure the training is up to date, and we're going to have this community that's going to go in there and answer questions for you anytime you have them. We also have the mentors, which are people, again, that have been living and breathing this business, working with us for years, still operating their own successful e-commerce businesses in the community every day, answering your questions. The training, again, we update it at least once a year, and then we still update it throughout the year. We do a major overhaul every single year from top to bottom, and then throughout the year, we're still updating every single video as things change on Amazon, which they oftentimes do. You won't find that anywhere out there. I think we saw like another similar course. We don't want to slam any competitors out there, but one thing we noticed on some other courses, they're years old. So you could actually watch these videos, think that you're doing something that's going to grow your business, and potentially put your entire business at risk because you're following training that's years old that may not even have guidelines or strategies that are allowed by Amazon anymore. We make sure ours is always up to date to not only make sure that you can grow as fast as possible, but feel safe knowing that what we're teaching you is exactly what Amazon likes and what we want you to do to build a successful business.
Yeah, and our whole philosophy behind the thing is to help you build a good, solid, long-term, profitable business that you can run forever, or you can sell, or you can do whatever you want to do with. So some other people may pitch a model that's more short-term oriented, like, hey, you're going to make a ton of money in the next 30 days, doing tricky stuff on Amazon that we're just not comfortable with. And so ASM may not be the right decision for you. If that's the kind of model that you want, if you just want to make as much money as you can right now and not really worry about the long-term consequences, then maybe there's a better option out there. We know our model works, and it's the kind of model that we like running and teaching and helping people with. And that's one thing that we think makes it quite a bit different. So next question is, if you're so successful, why do you share what you know inside ASM? This is a great question because a lot of people are wondering, what's the real situation here? Main reason is because we like doing it. We get to help a lot of people. We also learn a lot from our members. And so, for example, for Mike, he started off as a member, but I guarantee you over the past probably 5 years, I've learned a lot more about Amazon from him than he's learned from me. And then that's awesome. I love that. I get to learn, constantly be learning stuff. I own a very successful outside business doing my own e-commerce thing. I don't have to do this amazing stuff, but I do it because I like helping people. I like teaching this stuff. I like helping entrepreneurs, people achieve financial freedom. I know Mike's in the same boat. That's the main reason.
So related to that is, if you want to help people, why not just give ASM away for free? And we've had these conversations many times over the past several years. I know Matt had this kind of same conversation internally when he started out selling ASM, is what do we price it at? Why not just give it away, not create all these videos for free and put it out there? Well, there's a lot involved in making sure that ASM is the absolute best program out there and making sure it stays up to date. We have an entire company with employees that are working to support us and support you. And we have to pay for those employees to give them, good salaries, good jobs, also good lifestyles. So we can't just give it away for free. Otherwise, we aren't able to do that and to keep everything up to date and as high quality as it is. So we've come up with what we think is a really fair, reasonable price for ASM that allows you to get in for a very reasonable small investment, but allows us to continue updating ASM and growing our business to provide more and more tools and software and services so that once you have a successful business, we can continue to do that and continue to help you grow your business, maybe even outside of Amazon at some point in time as well. We just couldn't do those things we gave away for free. And to be honest, anyone looking just to get free training probably isn't the right people or dedicated enough to go ahead and build a real business. So we feel like this investment kind of make sure that you feel like you've invested in something that you're going to put your time into and spend time building so that you can change your life forever, just like it's done for me.
So last question we have here is, why should I start now? The best time to build almost any business is, ideally years ago. But, the best option you have, if you haven't done that, is to start right now, because the longer you wait, the more you're delaying that kind of compounding period when you first start a business. With a business, at first you're researching products, you're sourcing products, you're ordering inventory, you're creating your listing, you're doing all this kind of stuff where you're not necessarily making any money for the first few months, but you're doing all these necessary steps so you can get to the point where you get your first product live. You start building up the marketing for that, start building up the reviews. Then, a while later, you're able to launch your second product, your third product, your fourth product. Then all this stuff sort of compounds over time, where it almost feels like it's kind of like nothing. Okay, it starts picking up. And then eventually it gets to the point where it almost feels easy to make more money. And that's what we're trying to get you to as quickly as possible. So the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to be able to realize all that, because you can't really, shortcut that whole time period. Also, there's just an incredible opportunity in e-commerce. This isn't going to be here forever, but sales for e-commerce have been picking up like crazy. World events have caused that. Also, the general long-term trend. And so if you wait, that opportunity is not always going to be here. Eventually, maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it'll be a decade before there's something this good as an opportunity for you to go out there, build a business with such a low cost structure. The industry is already changing and everything, but right now is a good opportunity to jump in and get started if you've got no experience whatsoever. But if you wait, say 5 years, we have no idea what the situation is going to be, and it may not be quite as easy as it is right now.
Absolutely. Now that you know the answers to all these critical questions, click the button below this video to get all the details on what's included when you join ASM Evolution. This massive opportunity is way too good to pass up. On the other side of your decision today is a lifetime of financial freedom. A life where you'll never have to ask a boss for anything. And a life where you get to call all the shots. Join us inside of ASM before registration closes and before all the ASM Evolution bonuses go away. So click the button below to join ASM, and we can't wait to see you on the inside.
Is it too late to start an e-commerce business on Amazon? I get this question all the time, and with good reason. E-commerce exploded during the pandemic, and online shopping is on track to be $1 trillion business in the US by 2022. That doesn't mean that it's too late to get in though. It actually proves that there's more demand, and now that millions more around the world are using Amazon, the timing is perfect to start right now. Here's what ASM members have to say about why they joined, the incredible results they've achieved, how their businesses grew during the lockdown, and how their lives have changed after joining ASM.
My name is Ana Silva. I'm originally from São Paulo, Brazil, and now I live in Colorado. My background is in IT and real estate, and I still work in those fields. I heard about ASM through YouTube videos. I knew I wanted to start an e-commerce business, but I had no idea what to do and how to go about it. There's really no better training where you can really hit the ground running. It's still your own business and you do make your own decisions, but this program helps you each step of the way. It saves you time and it brings you that sense of belonging and community. I've had incredible results with my business. I'm very proud of what I've been able to achieve in just a few hours a week. For example, we've been able to easily pay for our son's college degree, and we've been traveling way more than we did before. Going outside the country with the whole family is just something we can do now, so it feels wonderful. The past few months have been very interesting. Unfortunately, with this pandemic, we've seen some negative changes in some of our friends' financial situations. We've seen other small businesses suffer from not being able to provide the services that they usually provide. On the other hand, COVID-19 has had a tremendous positive impact in my own business. My products are not essential whatsoever, and I've seen an incredible increase in demand. I'm pretty sure it has to do with just more people buying online instead of going to a brick and mortar store. And to be honest, I strongly believe that this increase in demand will be sustained as shoppers just realize now that it's so easy and convenient to just press a few buttons and buy things online. There's really no better time to be selling online right now. So I feel blessed for having this opportunity.
I'm Leah.
And I'm David, and we're from Noblesville, Indiana. Before ASM, I was working in medical sales. I had worked really hard to get my dream job, and I was trying my best at that, and doing my best meant that I had to be gone 4 nights a week. So I was on the road a lot. We were traveling over 4 states, and we had a daughter. And I realized that when I would come home, I would miss out on so much throughout the week. I was just kind of seeing them on the weekends. And so we really wanted to get our priorities in order and wanted to spend more time as a family, and that was important to us. And I think if I were to pick one thing that is probably the key to our success, is that we've never stopped investing in our education. Mm-hmm. Out of those things that we've invested in, I would say ASM is probably our best investment in our education that we've ever made.
We launched our first brand in 2014, and it was a beauty brand, and then that was mildly successful. And then in 2016, after attending SellerCon, it would have been 2015 in February, we launched a baby brand, and we grew those businesses and ended up selling those businesses in 2017 for a 4.7 multiple of our discretionary earnings. So that was really fantastic. It was a 7-figure exit, and we were able to take that money and invest in our retirement, and then we took a portion of it and we launched 3 more brands on Amazon. So right now we're actually under contract to sell 2 of those brands, and we'll hopefully be selling the 3rd in January of 2021.
And right now all 3 brands together are over $1 million in monthly revenue. I feel for people who have been negatively affected by the pandemic, for people losing family members due to it, for people's businesses that have been hurt. But when you look at the businesses that have been negatively affected, you take the brick and mortars, you take restaurants, you take theaters, you take service-based businesses, then if you look at that side by side with people who are online sellers, mm-hmm. most online sellers have seen a drastic uptick in sales because of so many people shopping online. Mm-hmm. But I think as far as how has it affected us, our businesses have all grown immensely during this time.
Mm-hmm. Hi, my name is Ann Ferris, and I'm from Chicago, but I live in Tamarindo, Costa Rica. So before ASM, I was a corporate lawyer living in London. I left that, I quit that job because I needed to have a life. And I moved to Tamarindo, Costa Rica, where I bought a hostel. Started a family. I had 2 beautiful children. I started ASM in 2017 when I was pregnant with my second baby, Nala. And it took me about 6 months to get my product live. After that, it went really well. And within 18 months, I had my business doing $100,000 a month. So I am currently a 7-figure seller, and it has just totally and completely changed my life. So I live on the beach. I get to stay home with my 2 beautiful children, which is really the most important thing to me, that I get to be home with them. In terms of, COVID hasn't affected my business too much. It's actually given me motivation to work a lot harder, and just to launch new products and to really go all in on my branding. I had to slow down for 2 weeks when Amazon slowed down the shipping, but then everything got back to normal. But definitely, my only other thing that I was doing was that I owned a surf hostel here in Costa Rica, which now we've recently reopened, but it was closed for several months. And my ex, the father of my kids, is also out of work because he teaches surf lessons to tourists. So if I was not selling on Amazon, I can't imagine the situation. I mean, I literally can't. I would have no money, no income, and 2 children to support. And instead, I have money in the bank and I'm able to save, and I just don't worry about the future of my children, which is definitely the most important thing. This is an amazing time to invest in selling online. There's no better time in the world. Everything is going to shift online.
Hi, my name's Paul Nichol and I'm originally from Scotland in the UK. Before ASM, I was working in a corporate job in the City of London. And like a lot of people, I'd done that job for money and not really very much else. I had very little passion for the role, particularly laterally. And I'd really just fallen into that common trap of exchanging a big chunk of my time for money. The results that I've achieved from ASM and from the selling on Amazon opportunity in general have massively exceeded my expectations. As much as I didn't really enjoy the corporate role and the lifestyle, I was well paid for it. However, my Amazon business is currently generating more profit per month than I was able to earn in an entire year in my previous role. My main goal when I signed up for ASM was definitely to achieve freedom, freedom to choose when and where I wanted to work, and not having to be accountable to anyone else other than myself. So I'm now really pleased to say that I've got that freedom. Don't get me wrong, some days I work very, very hard still, but the big difference is that it's doing something that I really enjoy and something which I have complete control over. Had I stayed in the previous corporate job, I'm almost certain I would have either lost that job or been furloughed given the COVID-19 situation. And again, this is why I'm super grateful to ASM and for the opportunity to sell on Amazon, as it allows you to be in charge and allows you to secure your family's future without being reliant on anyone else.
Hi, my name is Channing Dyson, and this is my husband, Justin Dyson, and we are from Dallas, Texas. Before we found ASM, I was actually working my butt off as a hairstylist, just trying to make ends meet. We were 24 at the time, and we had a 4-year-old, and I wanted to be able to have more days off that I could spend with my little baby who needed more of my attention.
Yep. So while she was a hairstylist, I was actually still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was working for my dad part-time. I was in college. And before that, I actually worked in a completely different industry. I was really just trying to figure things out. And that's when we stumbled across ASM. So we've been selling on Amazon for about 5 years now. And this past month, we did a little over $600,000. Pretty happy about. That was pretty cool. Cool deal. Our business is still growing really quickly. But the past 4 years, we've actually maintained between a 15 and 20% profit margin. And that's continued to be the case. So we're doing really well. We're really excited. And that's what we're here telling you about ASM and how we got started.
My life has changed. I'm able to work at the salon just on the days that I want to see a few of my wonderful clients. I am not working the crazy hours that I was working. I have way more time with both of my children now. We actually had another kiddo while we've been building this business.
For me, the biggest change is really just I get to work from home. Like I'm literally sitting in my office right now. We're recording this video. And we just have more time. There's a lot more time to do everything. Even though, our business is doing over $600K a month, we have a lot of extra time. I only work probably 20 to 30 hours a week. There's my little one right there. Say hi.
Hi, Briggs.
And he's gone. So I get to work from home with my wife here, with my kids in the background all the time. And it's just a lot more fun. Life is a lot easier. It's not just all about money, right? Like, yes, we are making more money than we ever did before, but the biggest change for me is we have freedom to do what we want. We go on vacation 3 or 4 times a year. We take other trips on top of that, and ASM has made that possible.
We have more freedom now than I think we could have ever dreamed of, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, all of our friends who have done this and have been successful with it, that's the kind of the one thing they do differently than everyone else. If you come into this with I'm going to do it this way and this way and this way, well, what do you need the course for? That's the point. When you're coming into this, clear your mind, open yourself up to the concept that they're going to show me the types of products that are successful. They're going to show me how to find those products, launch those products, and make money with those products. If you will follow that blueprint, which is laid out before you in the course, you will go so much further than even what you expect. I wanted to have $1 million a year business when we started this. I thought that was the most amount of money, right? And last year we did over 5 million. So your expectations, throw those out the window. Anything that you come into this with, just it's not even baggage, but just if you have these preconceived notions about how you want it to go, just clear that out of your mind.
Come in with an open mind and a willingness to learn, and it's a win-win situation. So That's what I tell my friends.
Could you learn to do this all by yourself? Sure. Probably take you a year to figure it all out, and you're going to spend a lot of money making mistakes. Trust me.
We've seen it.
Yeah, when you start this company, you know, if you don't have somebody kind of guiding you along the way, there's so much room for error. And that's the purpose of ASM. That's why they're here. That's the only reason we're even talking to you right now. One of the things that, you know, starting ASM and, you know, having a successful business on Amazon has allowed us to do is kind of give back like this. We want to be here to help you speed up the learning curve. And that's what this course is for. And that's why it's so important that I think anyone who's looking to sell on Amazon, take this course. It will help you. It will make you go faster. It'll help you grow faster. And you'll have a lot more clarity on what you should be focused on.
And it has completely changed our lives. So are you ready for it to change your life too?
ASM Works. It's a proven step-by-step program to help you start, launch, and grow your own business on Amazon, even if you don't have prior business or technical experience. We'll show you exactly how to find a product, where to source it, how to list it on Amazon, and how to successfully launch it. With ASM Evolution, we're even including 5 one-on-one coaching sessions at each major milestone in the launch of your business. That means you'll work with one of our coaches to review your progress and check that you have a good product to sell, that your listing is attractive to new buyers, that your launch plan is set up smoothly, and that your ads are set up to bring in the most sales possible. Once your sales are consistent, you'll even work with a coach to expand your brand with your next product. We've helped over 30,000 people discover the path to financial freedom, and we're ready to help you too become financially free. So go ahead, click the button below, and join the brand new ASM Evolution today.